Former cheaters of Reddit, how were you caught by your significant other? I caught my ex thanks to freaking Pokemon Go of all things. She mentioned Pokemon Go was using lots of her data. I explained that in her settings she could see how much data an app was using. I proceeded to show her and prove to her it wasn't by pointing out Tinder was using much more data. It was sad but also funny the way it went down. Advertised myself on Craigslist casual encounters and her brother-in-law found me on there. It wasn't until some time later I questioned what he was doing in there also. My first girlfriend cheated on me. She left to go to a party, but I couldn't go, so I kissed her and said, "Have fun, be safe." She later called me and said she slept with 2 guys, and that it was so fun that she was dumping me. I'm still recovering from that one. Edit. Wow, this exploded harder than those dudes on my ex's face. Thanks for the support and the laughs everyone, I've read everyone and it's well appreciated. Back in the day Snapchat used to tell you the top 3 friends if any of your friends. I saw that I was number 1, her best friend was number 3, and some dude co-worker was number 2. I later logged into her Voxer account and was able to hear conversations between her and said dude where she'd say things like she can't wait to run her hand through his hair, and then the pinnacle when he asked her if his jizz tasted different after drinking pineapple Monster energy drink. She said she doesn't usually taste it and just swallows it and that she'll have to pay more attention next time. Confronted her and she's telling me I'm taking it out of context. Yay, cuz that's normal conversation between male and female co-workers. Op looking for advice on how to avoid getting caught cheating. My iPhone synced to her roommate's laptop, revealing a treasure trove of nudes I had saved in my camera roll. Years later iPhones now ask you if you want to trust a computer you're charging from, rather than just syncing. Smiling at my cell phone too much. My parents thought I was dating someone once. Had to explain I was just using Reddit. Buddy of mine was cheating on his wife with a cam girl. They were a very religious church-going couple in their 20s. The cam girl blackmailed him for $500 or she would send it to his entire friends list. Wife, parents, grandma, pastor. He paid her off. When she asked for $500 more he confessed. She still sent the videos. It was pretty crazy for a while. The wife was considering a divorce until she got pregnant. They worked things out, and things are all good now. The guy really turned around and became a much better person. I admitted it. Being a cheater is one thing, but it turns you into a liar too, and by the end of it you've completely lost your soul. I didn't want to do that, so I admitted it. I caught my boyfriend of 2 years. He had asked me to proofread his paper on his Mac and the text messenger popped up in the right hand. He was sitting in his bed texting some girl "Goodnight, I love you" while sitting right next to me in his bed. I deleted his entire paper, wrote "Who's Marissa?" saved it and told him it looks great and left. She was his girlfriend of 8 years who lived next to his parents 2 hours away. I would not have been able to maintain my composure like that, lol. You frickin' ruled. Came back into town a day early and went to surprise him at work. Found him fricking another secretary. He was also a secretary. He didn't see me, so I took a quick photo and snuck back out. Went home, called my friends and family. They came over and helped me pack up all his shit and change the locks. Dumped his stuff at his mom's house. Sent him the picture of him and the chick and informed him that he and his belongings now reside with his mother again. Edit. He worked in a small lawyer's office. 2 lawyers and 2 secretaries. The lawyers were out of the office for whatever reason. I don't remember why. This happened many years ago. I came in and saw no one was at the front desks and went back to the break room. The door was open, so I was able to peek inside when I heard the obvious noises. The house house was mine, all the documents were in my name. He received no mail etc. there. He also lived paycheck to paycheck. No idea what he spent his money on as I paid all the bills. He spent the next few weeks begging me to take him back and all that jazz. Bothered my friends, showed up at my job, caterwauling in the street in front of the house etc. He eventually got bored and stopped. No idea what happened to him after that, haven't seen or heard from him again. Edit 2, I'm aware it's illegal to throw someone out of their house. I'm also aware that I didn't give a flying frick about the laws. While at uni I walked on an argument between my GF and her housemate as the housemate shouted at least I'm not a whore who sleeps with everyone when she goes home. Turned out she was sleeping around. Try not to suck any dicks on the way to the parking lot. Edit. My most upvoted comment is a freaking Clark's reference RIP inbox. I saw she had a different brand of condoms than I use in her bag. I checked her phone when she was in the shower and confirmed it. When I cheat, I don't use condoms for that reason. The real LPT is always in the comments. I wasn't the cheater, but instead the cheated. I've posted this before, but here is how I caught my ex cheating on me. My ex, many moons ago, was a freaking idiot. She knew that I had many friends that lived in the same neighborhood as her ex that she had left a couple months before dating me. She always told me she was going over a GF's house to study, and I had no reason not to believe her. Till one day she wouldn't answer a single text. Now I'm not the kind of guy to text a billion times. I'll text you, then if you don't reply, I'll text you 2 to 3 hours later to make sure you got my last message, and if you still don't answer, then, I'll talk to you when you feel like you want to talk. So anyway, I'm at my friend's house later that night having not gotten a reply from her since maybe 12 hours ago. Me and the group of friends decide to go outside in his backyard to make a pit fire, when I notice her car in the driveway of the house behind us. I didn't know it was her ex's house, but it was the way wrong neighborhood for her girlfriend's house. I call her sister up and say, "Where is your sister?" And she says, "Oh, she's at girl's name's house." Well, I'm going freaking nuts then because I'm looking at her car now and this isn't girl's name's neighborhood. Her response to that was So I hang up and asked my friend who lives in the house we were all hanging out at, who owns the house behind him. Oh, that's her ex-BF's name's house. I called her phone to find it was off. So I just chilled the rest of my time there, and paid it no more attention. No sense in worrying at this point, it's a done deal. About 2 hours later I get a call from her saying the phone was on silent for study purposes and if I wanted to come over. Sure, I told her. I arrive at the house a little bit after and she hops in the car, and as soon as she shuts the door I ask how was studying with girlfriend's name, and she gives me some bullshit answer like I didn't know. After she's done spewing her lie I say weird. Must have been a long walk from ex-BF's house. I made sure to look at her face as I said it so that I could see any expression. She knew I knew but wouldn't let it go. It will go quicker if I just give you the dialogue. We were just talking things out. Why would it be okay to just go over there to do that if you have a boyfriend? Talk things out? What needs to be talked out? We've been friends for a very long time before dating. I can't just stop talking to him. So to get around that, you feel it's logical to lie to me about going to girlfriend's house? It's 11 p.m, you've been talking it out since 10 a.m. I've tried getting a hold of you a couple times too. Silence for a bit. So what did you guys do? She wouldn't answer or look at me. I told her to get out of the car and just pulled off. She broke up with him the first time because he was physically abusive and seemed to not really want to do anything with himself. About a year after I drove off she calls me asking if we could try to make it work again and if I'd like to get together over dinner. So I said yes and arranged a date at a fairly upscale place for Saturday at 8 p.m. Told her the dress code and all, since it was a snazzy joint. I'm not sure how long she sat there, because I didn't freaking go. I signed into her Google account to check her emails. She forgot her password, so I had to reset it. I checked her Google Maps history, and her most recent visits were at my best friend's house while I was away for work. +1 for Google Maps. Overconfidence. I planned it well. I looked at her schedule, and planned my trips so that she was too busy to dig into my alibis. I kept it simple and uncomplicated. I always went to the gym to hide the smell and any traces of the encounter. I always paid with cash to avoid a paper trail. I fooled myself into thinking that it was working, and I got sloppy. But she suspected something was wrong. We had made our promises in front of God, but she knew I was a man of large appetites before we made our vows. She noticed changes in my appearance. She saw the extra spring in my step, then she started going through my clothes. Sure enough, she found damning evidence of my activities. She confronted me with the all-you-can-eat buffet loyalty card nearly filled in, and I confessed. It is time for me to now face the consequences. I've come home from work to find her in bed with one of her friends. I raged for a few minutes, then I remembered that I did that to her too, so I relaxed myself in a matter of seconds and told her that a month prior this, I cheated on her with a colleague at work. It happened to a friend of mine. We were all on vacation, about 7 friends, and everybody was drinking. We were the only 2 who didn't. He managed to snag his girlfriend's phone while she was passed out and pulled me to the side. He said she's cheating on me, some guy named Joey texting her and meeting her after work for sex every day, plus how he can make her extra wet. We ended up searching names and mutual friends via Facebook. Turned out Joey was a girl. I forgot I gave her an extra key. It wasn't me. Not me, but my buddy. He is such a great guy and yet has been cheated on by every girl he has ever dated. First girl apparently gets so blackout drunk that she can't tell who is who, because after going to a party one night ended up telling my friend that they should have bathtub sex like they did the other night. Only he had never had bathtub sex. Second girl dumps him because she was convinced he was cheating on her. After swearing up and down that he wasn't, he finally asked why she was so convinced. He's a great guy and would never even give the slightest reason for her to be suspicious. She told him that she had been cheating, so he had to have been too. Third girl that he is currently with his best friends with her most recent ex, as in still goes on best friend dates, and she still lives with and is friends with her ex-boyfriend. It is apparent to everyone but him that he is getting cheated on. He really is just so sweet and naive. Not the cheater but the side guy. This girl I met pursed me hardcore, looked at all of my stuff online, and eventually stalked me IRL when things went crazy. Wouldn't be surprised if she reads this, and I know other people do, but I am over being doxxed. They can live with it. So I meet this girl, she's super into me, I'm super into her. We start seeing each other. I go to a convention and she's there with her friends. I meet this dude. He is a little handsy. She says he is a FWB sort of thing, pulls him aside supposedly to tell him to cut it out because she wanted to seriously date me. She seemingly does, he seemingly is okay with it. Play Street Fighter and shook this dude's hand. Seems like a nice guy. What I didn't know, they had been together for like 4 or 5 years. He was getting ready to ask her to marry him. I continue to not have a clue for like 6 months. Dude isn't around, he is from another state. It isn't till I meet her friends do people keep mentioning this guy and I put it together. None of her social media stuff at the time displayed this serious relationship, and she was even on a bunch of fetish dating apps, one of which she found my profile and flirted with me on as a cute joke. Now, I'm a dumbass, and I try to fix this for a while. Of course it doesn't work. One of her best friends and roommates eventually spills the beans that she witnessed us sleeping together to him. Everything explodes. To make things worse, when I broke things off with her, she started stalking me hardcore, and one time after lying to me about telling him the truth, while drunk, she forced herself on me after we took some other stuff too far. It sucked. After that I tried to shut things down permanently, but she wouldn't take no for an answer and kept the other guy hooked in remotely. To my surprise, most of her friends kinda chose me at first. They had known her for years, but apparently she has a history of crazy bullshit. So for a while I had this great group of supporting friends. When I finally managed to cut things completely off with her, all of that changed. She got together with my roommates and started nasty rumors about me. Somehow she managed to convince a lot of people that I was just stalking her the whole time, and she even got engaged to the other guy, and managed to win most of her friends back. As a bonus, I was isolated on campus, lost my apartment, and became homeless because the university officials initially sided with her and the other students without checking into anything. Thank goodness I live in a one-party consent state and recorded everything and archived all of my chats with her and these people. I write about the last part a lot on Reddit. That was a year ago, and thanks to some kind people on Reddit, and the fact that I recorded everything, especially the bullshit the university did, I managed to stay out of trouble. I recently went public about the abuse I have received from her and previous partners as a male victim of domestic abuse, sexual assault and rape. Things are improving slowly, and I even have stable shelter now. I have a lot of trouble trusting people now though. I don't know if I can ever be in a close relationship the same way again. Edit/TLDR, she got caught because she introduced her side guy to her friends. Tried to maintain this weird double life semi-publicly, and when it exploded she destroyed my life. I almost got caught once in high school. Invited one girl over to my house after some kinky A/S/L exchanges on AOL Instant Messenger. While I was hanging out with her, my actual girlfriend dropped by unannounced. Came by because she knew me more than anyone and knew I wouldn't be doing anything useful with my time. So I convinced the other girl it was my crazy sister and we hid in the living room listening to her bang on my door, call my name, and call my phone for an hour. I'd cry, but this seems like a freaking funny scenario. You're scared shitless and so is she.